Unfortunately, I'm not as nice of a guy as you may think I am. I have created this free course as a lead magnet to hopefully take your money one day. That being said, I do have some good news because I don't want your money until you're at least $10,000 a month. Why? Because I make my money by partnering with successful SMMA owners and scaling them up to 20 to 50K per month inside the Relentless Success Club's inner circle. Here's a soft flex. Okay, so I absolutely fucking hate doing this, but I shared the free course with a millionaire friend of mine and he told me that this had to be done. Now, I hate flexing on people. I'm very low key. This is a $7 t-shirt. And there's people in my close family that don't even know I run a business, okay? That being said, I understand in the online world, I have to show proof that I know what I'm talking about and show proof as to where this information that I'm about to give you over the next hour or so actually came from. So 5 years ago, I started my first agency. It was called Wilson Media. I started it shortly after dropping out of school because I absolutely hated school. And within 2 years of that agency, I was the top young entrepreneur of the year in my city. And well, I'd served over 200 clients. And from there, I moved on to serving clients in the gym niche. I did Facebook ads to go high level. And in the first 4 weeks, we scaled that agency from 0 to 25K, or sorry, just under 25K. And here were some of the results that we got for people in that niche. And then at that point, I was like, oh, I have a little bit of a knack for this. So that is when I went to start RSC, which is where I get to partner with successful SMMA owners and scale them up to $20,000 to $50,000 a month and give everybody else the stuff that they need for free in order to become established, right? That is my selfish intention out of making this free course for you. And so you can see, here's one Stripe account that we have going right now for the last month. Here's another Stripe account that we have going right now. We also take payments through Wire. We also take payments through PayPal. We also take payments through ClickFunnels, this weird ClickFunnel funnel that we have set up with one agency. So we do a lot more than what you can see here on the screen, but I don't like sharing numbers. I don't believe I think that's a way to make yourself vulnerable. So I'm not going to do that. You just kind of get a gist of what I'm doing. So it had to be done. I hate doing it, but let's get back from the course now. People like Tony, who had the pleasure, if you want to call it that, of meeting when he was still a broke university dropout. And then we partnered, and just about 90 days later, a bit under 90 days later.
And I got help from Dylan. An agency went from like 2K a month and this mortgage of 17K just in a while. So
you can see what happened. And here's a shit ton of other people that we've helped inside the inner circle who have come in with a little bit of established agencies, and then we've added fuel to the fire based on the systems that I've developed from working with over 600 people inside of Relentless Success Club to install them into their agency so they can blow the fuck up. Okay, so I create these free courses that others would try and sell you for $997 with a crazy guarantee in hopes that you will take action, scale to $10,000 a month, and hit me with the "what you doing tonight" text. Okay, so let's make a deal. I'll give you this free course. You can network with thousands of others, SMMA owners just like you, inside my free community. You can ask me any stupid fucking question you want during our free coaching calls together. We do them twice a week. If you haven't signed up for those already, I'll put a link in this video so you can register for these. And if you want a little bit more support, and if you want my other six-figure agency owner friends to come inside of your brand new agency owner and walk you through every step of the way to make sure that you get your first client, you can join the free first client challenge and get a first client in the next 2 weeks or less. And if I do this, can I get a promise that you'll consider working with me inside your SMMA in the future? I don't need you to. I just want you to maybe consider it. Okay, that's a fair deal. Let's get into how to get your first or next SMMA client in only 250 to 500 DMs. And more importantly, earn the right to look everyone who was doubting you in the eye, including yourself, and say, you were fucking wrong, motherfucker. Okay, so meet Kendrick. Kendrick has not paid us $1. Kendrick has never bought an RC program. He simply just followed this lesson that I'm about to give you. He simply went through the free course that I'm about to give you. He got the 1.0 version. You're getting the 2.0 version, so I expected to do even better than Kendrick did. And he signed a $1,000 retainer while living in the Philippines. You can hear him here.
Testimonial to RSC, and especially Stefan and Wyatt for helping me out with the first client challenge, because when I started, I was broke and couldn't afford the first client challenge.
So he was broke. He couldn't afford the first client challenge. So then he took action from this free course, made $1,000. And at that point, he was like, okay, well, at that point, I might consider wanting to work with Dylan in the voice.
Helped me out with that. I'm now at the Accelerator program. So if you guys are having any doubts at all, you can reach out to Stefan and Wyatt and Dylan. So you don't even have to do what Kendrick did after that. If you want to waste your money on us after, that's your own fucking decision. But regardless, you're going to make money before that, okay? Here's Ishmael. Okay, so when I met Ishmael, he didn't have a whole lot of money. We'll just say that. He had failed online business 9 times, and SMMA was his last bout, right? He followed the exact same process that I can give you. He got his first client, and then he just kept repeating this, rinse and repeating this, rinse and repeating this. And as an immigrant, in 5 months and 29 days, you can see right here, he hit 10K per month with his agency, okay?
So here are some obstacles that might get in the way from you seeing success. Number one is money. Well, I'd like to introduce you to Wyatt. So Wyatt, when I first met him, he was actually $25 in debt because the Real World, Andrew Tate's program, charged him $50 when he only had $25 in his account. But he followed this process, and in 24 hours, he signed 3 clients by following this exact process I'm about to give you. Time. Meet Cannon, who, when I first met Cannon, he was in the military. He had a family, he had a daughter, and he was also wrapping up his time in the military to move back to Texas in the States. Talk about not having time. Well, he was able to implement this exact process I'm going to share with you. And well, you can see the numbers here, but I actually got something better for you, because even though these are his numbers back a couple months ago, this is my most recent conversation with Tom Cannon. So he's over $12K a month now by following this process. Ability. Ali Sinar. He's 14 years old and he lives in Turkey. He started this agency 2 days ago. He got his first client in 2 days by following this process. So the 14-year-old in Turkey. Okay. And then guess what? Due to some family reasons, he had to shut the agency down. A couple months later, he gave it another shot, and well, this is what happened. Okay. Following this exact process. Now, we've seen people have success with this exact process in every single continent except Antarctica, because, well, we haven't yet had any penguins join this program or confusion. Me, Michael Cook, who's 40 years old, okay? He'd spent close to $40,000 in internet marketing education, but nothing actually resulted to anything except for this exact lesson that I'm about to give you, okay? So before I continue, I need to know that you will not let these things stop you from seeing success, because I just showed you, doesn't matter how much money you have, how much time you have, what your ability is, where you live, or how confused you could be, you can make this work, okay? Here's some advice from people who have just walked this path a couple steps before you, and just to show you from all over parts of the world that this is possible. Meet Jacob.
I got in the first client challenge, they told me to go niche down, do something you resonate with, something that you actually like to do. When I did that, I sent 100 messages a day. I did my replies every single day. If you put in the work, it'll work for you. I got my free trial client within 12 days, just like they say. And then within 30 days, I got a paid trial client. So they paid me money. So
Jacob had been trying to start his agency for months. What we didn't know is that when he went through this material and when he followed the steps that you're about to follow, he was only 12 days away from his first client and 30 days away from his first hundreds of dollars that he'd made in SMMA.
I use YouTube videos, stuff like that.
So he was trying YouTube videos. He went down the YouTube video rabbit hole. It didn't work because the information was everywhere. He was suffering from confusion. He didn't know what to do, right? He didn't have a simple, repeatable process, a step-by-step framework, until we gave him the one that you are about to go through.
Didn't go well for me. Then I joined the first line challenge. After 12 days, I already got my first client.
But here's Ramesh from India, who again went down the rabbit hole of YouTube and watched Iman and all these things with no repeatable process, no step-by-step, began to consume this content that you're about to get access to. And well, here's
I joined RC Fast Venture over like 45 days ago, and I closed my first client within like 35 days.
Close the client from India. If he can do it, you can too. Or Angelo, who, well, crushed it with the same information that you get.
So I joined 7 days ago and closed my 2 first paying clients. So not free trial, but paying clients. And I have 3 other waiting to join by the end of this week.
So if you do not succeed, I hate to fucking say this to you, but if you do not succeed with the information that I'm about to give you, it's your fucking fault. There's hundreds of people that have been given this framework and have gone on to put in a little bit of work to make a big impact on their life and to change the trajectory of their year so they can sit there on New Year's Eve and actually have something to fucking celebrate about, right? So if you go through this and you are not succeeding, it's just not the information. It is the person using the information, okay? Because there's hundreds of people that have taken this exact same information and gone on to completely change their life, okay? So in this course together, we're going to cover choosing a wildly profitable niche and service, setting up your outreach account, writing a high converting outreach script, finding your dream prospects, the number one reason why most people never succeed, how to book appointments, how to stay motivated, how to sell your first client, and then what most success stories did to actually guarantee these results. Okay, so let's get started. Number one, selecting your wildly profitable niche. Okay, so Emery Britt. When I first met Emery Britt, he had started an email marketing agency for fashion brands, and he had a partner to 2x the output, okay? But after 6 months, he had made $0. He didn't really resonate with his niche, he knew nothing about it, but he thought it was a lucrative opportunity, right? And then he joined the first client challenge and he got the exact same information that I'm about to give you. And well, he followed this exact process. He chose his wildly profitable niche. He signed his first SMMA client in 7 days. And then, well, here's what he had to say. So some of you may have been on the call where I essentially realized that I had to start my agency over with a brand new niche with the help of Dylan and the other guys on that call. I've done a 180 with my agency. I just signed my third client in 30 days within this niche, putting me at 4K for this month. Incredible. Thankfully to you all. Slight niche change from earlier this week has resulted in 5 new clients. That is the power of choosing the niche. Here's Jaden Wheat saying a very similar thing. He had a very interesting story where he was beating his head against the wall because he was in the wrong niche.
I'm Jaden Wheat, and I joined the RC or client challenge about I'd say a month ago, and was trying the hardest for the home improvement niche for a month. I didn't get any results. But then as soon as I niche up, because I got some advice from Stefan about how your niche is very important. You should really pick it and go through stuff that they give you. And I got my first client in 2 days. So as long as you just keep at it.
So he'd been struggling for months. And then Stefan, one of the coaches inside of RC, went to him and was like, bro, you're in the wrong niche. No wonder you can't sign any clients. Niche hopped, signed a client in 2 days. So I'll show you the process that Stefan used with Jaden right here, okay? So which niche should you choose? Well, resonation times potential can equal your niche score. Now I've created a special document that I'm going to walk you guys through so we can do this here together on this call. All right, so picking the easiest niche. So in order to make sure that we are selecting a niche that we are bound to see success in, and we need to make sure that we have a high niche score, ideally above 70%. And on this page, I'm going to break down how to select a niche that has a high niche score. Let's get started. Resonation times potential equals your niche score. So step 1 is to calculate resonation. Resonation refers to how much we relate to and understand the niche from a human to human perspective. This is important because the more you resonate with your niche, the easier it will be to grow your agency within that niche. So in order to start our niche selection process, we need to first write down as many hobbies, interests, and past jobs we have had, right? Beside each niche, I want you to write down here, put a number on how much you relate to this niche. So here's an example from me and my personal life. Yours is going to be different than mine because we've had different personal lives. So I've been a hockey coach, I've been an agency owner, golfing, snowboarding, travel, videography. Those are some of the hobbies that I have, right? In business. And now beside each different thing here, right, I put how much I actually understand this industry, how much I actually relate to this niche, right? Then step number 2 is to calculate potential, right? So potential is more or less asking, is this a good niche to work with or not? Now, in order to calculate the potential within a niche, we need to do some research to answer the following questions for each niche on our list above. Number 1, are they in pain? Is your niche currently struggling to solve a problem? An example of this is our realtors currently struggling to find clients. If your niche is not currently struggling to find clients, they are not a good niche to work with, right? If they already have booked up calendars, if they're selling masks because of the beginning of the pandemic, they're not a good niche to work with. Number 2, do they have purchasing power? Does your niche typically have money to invest? If the answer is yes, that is the goal, right? Are they easy to target? Is your niche easy to find and target? Okay, now here's a nuance with this. It's not necessarily is your niche easy to find and target, but is the decision maker that operates the companies within your niche easy to find and target, right? So car dealerships, they're not easy to target because to get to the manager of a car detailership, you have to go through 3 gatekeepers. And that's incredibly hard to do, especially at scale, right? The local gyms, well, you send them a DM on Instagram and it's probably the owner that's going to respond. Do they have an evergreen offer? So does your niche offer something that can be purchased/consumed all year long? So the simple example of this is a home decor e-com store. Yes, they're selling to people all year long, but Halloween e-com stores are not. You wouldn't want to go into the Halloween industry because you'd make a lot of money in October and you'd be broke for the rest of the year, okay? Are they a local business? Does your niche offer products/services to a local area? This actually does not matter, but it's good to take note of. And then what is the size of the target market? So no, this is not your target market, i.e. this isn't oh, there are 100 realtors that I could serve, but instead it's how many people are looking to buy or sell within a realtor's service area. So how many potential customers do people in your niche have? And what the goal with this is that you want it to have at least 100,000 on average, right? It's obviously going to vary location to location, but this is just a general rule of thumb. And then the next one is, can they handle volume? So you've actually run into this problem before in my own agencies where we'll do really, really good service delivery. And then our clients will call us and be like, hey, we're full. I need you to shut off the ads. Well, when the ads are shut off, we're not making any money. And that's a problem, right? So you want to make sure that your niche can handle a lot of customers, then it's not like you get them 1 or 2 jobs or 1 or 2 appointments or 1 or 2 customers, whatever, your funnel is, and then they have to shut off the ads. The next one is, what is a client worth? So what is a new customer worth to niche? And the goal with this is that it's worth at least $250, because if it's worth any less than that, well, you're going to have to run insanely good Facebook ads in order for it to be profitable. And that's not super easy to do. So here is my example. So I chose hockey schools because I actually worked as a hockey coach for 2 years while I was trying to start my agency way back in the day. So are they in pain? Yes. Do they have purchasing power? Yeah, no. So I know this because I have so much understanding of the industry, right? I was in this industry for 2 years. Every single day I worked with a hockey coach, right? So I know that there is a very small fraction of companies that make a shit ton of money, and then most of them are broke. So I knew that there was a big wealth gap within that industry. That's why I put like in yes, no, because there are some, but there isn't a whole lot. Okay. Are they easy to target? Yes, they are. Do they have an evergreen offer? No. Or at least most hockey programs don't. Like there was summer hockey programs, but as a general rule of thumb, most of the time they're not running hockey school in the middle of the summer. Is their client lifetime value over $250? Yes. Do they have a potential target market of over 100,000? Yes. Can they handle volume? Yes. And are they a local business? Yes. So after you've done the research and answered all these questions for your niche, you want to add up your potential score as follows. So if it's a straight yes, you include the weight, and I've calculated this for you guys. If it's a yes/no, it's a weight divided by 2. And if it's a flat no, then it's a 0, right? So in my example, if I was to add up all these numbers, which is the same as these numbers here, I would get 7.375. Now, the last step that we do is we calculate the results. So to calculate your niche score, you simply multiply your resonation score by your potential score. So in my case, I would get 66.375%. Now, what is a good score? Anything above 70 is ideal. However, if you have experience and above average sales skills, you can thrive in niches above 50. Now, I've created some homework for you guys so you can do this exact same exercise and figure out what the best niche for you is. Okay, so now that we've picked our niche, what service should we provide? Well, what if you could make your first free trial client $27,000? You'd probably sign them on to a deal, just like Daniel Rodriguez did, okay? So Daniel Rodriguez picked a good service delivery for his specific niche. He executed it to a T by following the steps that I'm about to share with you guys. And he made his first client $27,000. Okay. And when you make your clients $27,000, well, it's easy to sign them on to a retainer, and especially a high ticket retainer. Okay. Or Kenan, who made his clients $40,000. And Kenan's in the detailing niche. And so a lot of you guys in the detailing niche know how hard that is, right? Or Fuzan Muhammad, who was getting paid so much through a pay per lead. His client wanted to switch to a retainer. So they settled on a $1,500 USD per month retainer, right? Because of how good of results that he was getting. Okay. This is what happens when you choose the right service delivery for your clients. Okay. So there are a million different services that you can provide. Email marketing, TikTok ads, billboard placement. There's a million fucking things that you can do, right? That being said, I want to give you guys the 2 easiest ones. Don't do TikTok ads. Don't do YouTube ads. Don't do email marketing. Don't do any of that stuff as a beginner, only as a beginner, because Facebook ads and Google ads have the most repeatable processes and are the easiest to get results, right? If you want to do YouTube ads, that is fine. And you can make a shit ton of money with YouTube ads, but you have to understand creatives. You have to understand the YouTube ad platform. You have to create a hook in the first 5 seconds of the video, right? You have to introduce stories. You have to, it's a lot more advanced than finding some copy and putting a creative and putting it up on Facebook. Yes, TikTok ads, those creative-based platforms are great ways to get excellent client results, but you have to rely on your client for more creative-based assets, and it's a lot more of an advanced thing to learn. And this course isn't teaching you guys how to make $100,000 per month. We're talking about how to get your first or next client here, right? So because we're at this stage of the game, we're better off using tools that are more relevant to us at this stage of the game. That's why I always recommend that you guys start with Facebook or Google ads. Now, which one though? So if you are selling a want, if your niche sells a want, car detailing, home improvement, tanning salon, sports school, those are things that people want, but they don't need, right? There's no emergency. Then you're better off using Facebook ads. Now, if your niche is selling you need, shit, my car broke down. I gotta go get it fixed. Fuck, I woke up, there's a rat in my house. I gotta get the rat out of the house. Shit, the pipe burst and now the bathroom flooded, right? They're not going on to Google. If they're not going on to Facebook when those things happen, they're going on to Google, right? So if you're selling an emergency service, a need, Google ads are going to be your pick, okay? Now, after you have the Facebook ads set up or the Google ads set up, You want to send all of them into go high level. Otherwise, you're glorified fucking media buyers, and that doesn't have any value to your client, right? But if you want to be able to deliver appointments from ready to buy customers on your client's calendar, you're going to have to leverage go high level. But don't worry, we got you, okay? But unfortunately, I'm only going to actually help you with this if you give me money. However, I promise to give you a 10x return on your money. And I'm going to give you the fully built out service delivery, go high level snapshots that 6 and 7 figure agency owners are using today inside the inner circle, the ones that I am currently using for my agencies. I'm also going to give you an exclusive go high level mastery course to make sure that you over deliver on your client results. And then at last, it's a little bonus, I guess. I'm going to invite you into my weekly exclusive SMMA masterclasses inside the Relentless Success Club, where we're going to go very deep on service delivery to make sure that you have absolutely master each and individual aspect of it so you can get your clients just fucking ridiculous results. Because when you do that, you'll make a shit ton of money. Okay. Now, I know this is going to cost you $994, but if it allowed you to create insane case studies, the service you provide, right? It's $994 one time. If it allowed you to create insane case studies with the service that you provide, if it's 3 to 5x the lifetime value of a client, if it allowed you to sleep at night without worry because your clients are crushing it, would it be worth $994? Well, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm giving it to you for $0. Click the link below and you can gain access to all that cool shit. So your action steps now is to choose your service delivery and then set up Go High Level, register for the masterclasses, get the Go High Level course and all that free goodies. Okay, so we just covered choosing a wildly profitable niche and service. Now we're going to talk about setting up your outreach account. Okay, so setting up your outreach account. So when I first started doing outreach, well, I wasn't that good. These were my 2 accounts that I was running. The first one had approximately a 2% response rate, and the second one had a little bit under a 1% response rate. And at the time, I didn't know why, but in hindsight, I'm like, no fucking shit. Every single person that I ever hit up knew exactly why I was hitting them up. They knew that I was trying to sell them something, and so nobody cared. Then I switched my profile to resemble a little bit more about what it looks like today. And well, my response rate skyrocketed. Okay. So here's Omar, who did the exact same thing. Omar's inside the first client challenge. And as you can see, he joined the first client challenge on August 13th. And on August 15th, he got his first ever client. And one of the key elements to Omar's success is that he had a very natural, very authentic, and very good looking outreach profile. Or here's Mason Chase. So when I actually met Mason, he had the salesiest outreach profile I'd ever seen. He had like some ridiculous claim in his bio. And I was like, bro, do you think people are going to believe that? He's like, no. Okay, we'll take it out. Act like an average person, right? All of a sudden, people were more inclined to have a conversation with him. And these people that were now having a conversation with him, well, he was able to start rinsing them, okay? So step 1, your profile photo. So the key to a successful outreach campaign is making your photo casual and appear as though you're a potential lead/customer to your niche, right? So here's an example if you're targeting the gym niche. Think about your gym owner. Which one of these 2 people would you rather respond to? The one on the left, the one on the right? Probably the one on the left, right? Because the one on the right looks like that I'm just trying to sell you something. The one on the left looks like that I might be interested in gyms, might want to come to the gym. Definitely maybe want to have a conversation about different things in the fitness industry, right? Obviously the one on the left, if you're a gym owner, is much more appealing to have a conversation with, okay? Step number 2 is the bio. So the key to successful Instagram bio is not making it salesy. Forget the I help X achieve Y. We want to appear neutral, we want to appear authentic, and we want to invite people in to our story. So before I explain how to create the perfect bio, let me say that you do not need to flex achievements to try and prove your authority. You do not need to fit every single thing imaginable into it, your topics, products, lead magnets, other links, and accomplishments, and you do not need to stay crazy marketing lingo. In other words, don't fucking do this, okay? Here's some good bios. Sharing lessons on entrepreneurship, marketing, and mindset, and fitness as I build businesses. Entrepreneur, that weird fucking line that I don't even know what it means. Athletes. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Here's a pro tip. Look at your non-entrepreneurial friends' bios, your average people bios, and copy them. Because we're trying to appear as an average person as we hit these people up so we actually can start the conversation with them. Okay? Step number 3, stories and posts. Share real photos and stories from your real life, right? Don't create a bunch of Canva graphics talking about marketing or some fucking bullshit. Show that you're a real person because people want to talk to people. People do business with people, right? And here's a bonus tip. If you are available, if you're over 18, or if it is available in your country, get verified. Because even though all you have to do is submit documents today and you don't have to be a cool celebrity like you used to, well, people know that if this person is verified, they're at least a real person, right? There's a lot of bots out there. There's a lot of scammers out there. None of them are verified, right? So they know that if you have that blue check, you're at least a real person, and you're at least somebody who may be worth the conversation. So a little pro tip is to get verified. It'll help probably by about 20%. You'll probably get about 20% more responses. Okay. So your action step now is to create your outreach account. Okay. So we've chosen our profitable niche and service, and now we set up our outreach account. So now it's time to create our high converting outreach scripts. So crafting your outreach script. So you have two choices with your outreach here. So you can follow what James does and start booking appointments as of later today, or what Mihal did and wakes up to 5 leads in a single account, or what Kenan did and closes first lead gen client and commissions within 5 days by following this outreach process. Or you can do what most people do and continuously beat your fucking head against the wall with a shitty outreach script for months and see no results, and then call Iman Gandhi and all the other SMMA gurus a scam. Anyways, there's once an energy drink company who was out there and they were trying to get more samples. They wanted people to sample their new drink so they could gather data on what the market thought about it. But the problem is they were going up to people and they were being like, hey, would you like to try out this new drink? And only 10% of people were saying yes. And the campaign was costing too much money. They weren't getting the data, and it was on the verge of being a failure. And then on the last day, they showed up, and instead of asking people if they want a sample of this drink, they went up to people and said, hey, do you consider yourself an adventurous person? Almost everybody said yes, and they said, okay, well then would you want to try out this new energy drink? The response rate went from 10% to just under 90% simply by pre-framing the ask. And that is the first thing that we're going to be doing with our outreach. So here's the winning outreach framework. So number 1 is a response-provoking text. Number 2 is a follow-up, a comment on their recent post. Then we pitch. Then follow-up number 1 is a bump. Follow-up number 2 is a joke. And follow-up number 3 is the Hail Mary. Okay? So I'm going to break this down for you step by step. Number 1, initial message. Hey, are you on TikTok? Hey, do you offer 30-minute Kairos sessions? Hey, do you service X type of people? We want to ask them a question that they're likely to respond to, and so then we can position our pitch in alignment with that question. So if it's like, hey, are you on TikTok? They say yes. Awesome. Well, would you be opposed to letting us boost XYZ? Hey, do you offer 30-minute Kairos sessions? Yes, we do. Awesome. Well, would you be opposed to letting me get you an additional 30 this month? Hey, do you service X type of people? Yes, we do. Then you can pitch in alignment with getting them more of those X type of people. Okay. But we definitely want to offer that, because if we pitch them straight off the bat, they're just going to leave it on red. But if they engage in the conversation, if they engage in the first message that you're going to send, they're going to be 10 times more likely to engage on the second message you were sent. It's just human nature, right? If somebody goes up to you and pitches you right off the bat, what are you going to do? Walk away. And if somebody comes up to you on the street and maybe ask a question, you answer the question and then say, oh, well, then would you be interested in this? You're going to answer the question, or you're going to answer the follow-up pitch. And the more answers that we get, the more likely that we are to have one of these answers be a yes, right? So that is why we definitely want to be starting this with a response-provoking message. And after we send the response-provoking message, we want to leave a comment on their post. But what I see most people do is they leave a generic comment. Hey, I just sent a DM. The client knows what's the DM is. They know you're trying to pitch them something. It doesn't work. Instead, what you want to do is you want to leave a relevant comment relating to one of their recent posts, and then say, I sent a follow-up question to your DMs. So let's say you're in the gym niche, right? And somebody's doing a hang clean, right? No way. I just started getting into hang cleans myself. I added 20 pounds to my hang clean by following a tip that you posted a couple weeks ago. By the way, I sent a follow-up question about this in your DMs. Okay. That is going to get a response. The, hey, I sent a quick DM is not going to get a response. So that's why you want to actually put in a little bit of effort and leave good organic comments. Okay. Now, here are some pitches that I'm going to walk you through. Okay. So here's some different templates and some different frameworks that you can follow. Okay. So perfect. Well, I just work with client name to get result using what you did. Can you take on more clients? I'd be happy to show you the system free of charge, right? This is the case study framework. You want to use this if you already have a case study, okay? The next one, personal story. So if you have a personal story that relates to your niche, this one is killer, okay? So this is the real one that I used with Christian Rodriguez, who made his way all the way up into the inner circle and then hit 10.4K a month with his real estate agency in 3 months. When I met Christian, he didn't have $300 to his name. 3 months later, he was making over 10K a month, and he's since gone on to do even bigger things since then. But anyways, when we were going through that phase of intense scaling through organic outbound, this was the exact script that we used. So great, it's a little random story. I used to actually call leads from my mom's brokerage, and I noticed a huge problem, which was how bad the quality of the leads I was calling was. Because of this, I created a system that can help you get extra listings this year while only talking to quality people. Would you want to check it out? I'd be happy to show you how the system works free of charge. Okay. free trial. So if you have any experience, you can offer this, right? If you have experience, you've done this before, right? Or if this isn't your first free trial client, I like offering this one. So would you be opposed to getting a result? Would you be opposed to streamlining your entire content process? Right? Would you be opposed to letting me get you an extra 10 to 20 appointments this month? 100% done for you. All you have to do is something easy. 100% done for you. All you have to do is, well, I guess actually the appointment itself. Would love to work for free and show you the value we can provide. 100% done for you. All you have to do is hit record. Would love to work for free and show you the value that we can provide. Okay. Now the last outreach one, this is the most powerful one, especially to get your first client, especially as a beginner. And this is what you want to be using if it is your actual first client. You want to use this if you actually have no experience. So it's full transparency, your situation, insert your goal. Therefore, I wanted to ask if I could work for free and what you will do if it turns out well. All I'm looking for is a testimonial. So an example of this in person is full transparency. I'm a 22-year-old who just left school after getting my business degree, and I'm starting my business so I can be like my dad. Therefore, I wanted to ask if I could work for free to help you bring in new members to your gym. And if it turns out well, all I'm looking for is a testimonial. So you want to insert your situation, insert why you started your business, right? And then you want to ask if you can work for free. Here's how you will help them. And if it turns out well, you're looking for a testimonial, which is the justification, right? If you don't say that you're looking for a testimonial, they're going to think, oh, what the catch? Oh, this sounds too good to be true. But if you say this, no, I am asking for something and it would be a testimonial, but only after I get you results, then it's going to logically make sense in your prospect's brain. Okay. So if you send the pitch and you don't get a response, here's the follow-up sequence that you want to run through. So number one is, hey name, just bumping this up to the top of your inbox, which is just a simple bump, right? If they don't respond to that, I noticed you left my offer on red. Is it my insert funny characteristic? When I was working with Christian with his real estate agency, he had this ugly mustache, right? And so you could see it in his profile photos. So we would always hit them with this if they left their offers on red, right? But if maybe you're shirtless in your profile photo, or maybe you have a bad hairline or something, right? Make a joke about yourself, share damaging and missing to show that you're a real person. Get a little laugh is the ultimate goal with this follow-up message. And then follow-up number 3 is the Hail Mary, where you basically apply a little pressure and just say like, hey, this is the last time I'm reaching out. So an example of this is, hey name, I apologize for being persistent. However, I reached out to another local agent and they're pretty keen. So because we're only working with one agent out of courtesy, I thought I'd reach out one last time. Either way, I'd appreciate a response. So we show that, hey, like I do want to work with you, but I'm also talking to this other one and they're pretty keen. So unless you want to hop on a call, we're not going to speak anymore, right? That is what you want to get across with that Hail Mary play. Okay. So next part, now that we're setting our outreach, right? How do we make our prospect actually give a fuck? Okay. When we are creating an offer, we must create something that they actually want, right? So Matthew Dean learned this the hard way, right? Matthew Dean was in the First Client Challenge, et cetera, and he was getting a little bit of traction with his agency, right? He was getting a little bit of results, but then one of the things that he ran into was that his prospects didn't really care. They didn't really care about what he was offering. And it turns out the reason why is because he wasn't solving their deep down dark desire. He was offering to get more appointments and get more leads for people in his niche. But what he didn't know is that what they really wanted was they wanted enough jobs so they could leave the actual work site and hire in a team, but feel comfortable as they were doing it. Because that's their biggest fear. Oh, well, I could pay to hire in this team, but if I can't get enough jobs, well, then I'm going to lose money. So I'm just going to play it safe and stay doing the work myself, but I don't really want to do that. So the second he switches messaging from, hey, I will get you enough jobs so you can hire in a team and take a step back, he took off. He does over $10,000 per month now. Okay. So here is how you find market message resonation. Here is how Matthew found out his deep, dark desire within his niche. Okay. So how to use community groups to find your target market's true desires and problems. So step 1 is to go into search community groups. So you want to join groups where your target market hangs out. And you want to search keywords to identify the true problems that your target market struggles with, such as I'm struggling with, I'm wondering, have you ever, what do I do? And as you search these groups, you want to write down these problems you uncover here. Okay. And do not stop until you have at least 10 different problems and desires. And when you see multiple people discuss the same topic, really take note there. Okay, so I'm over here on Facebook and I found a group that I am in, right? And so what you want to do is you don't go to this group, find a group that is relevant to your niche, of people in your niche. Let's say example, I'm trying to sell to people that are in funnels or online marketers, et cetera, right? That might be using ClickFunnels. So I come over to here you type, I'm struggling, right? And then if you want a bonus, what you can do is you can hit Command F, then I'm struggling, put that, or I would just put just struggling. So it comes up more. And then you can see so Mike, nice name, is I'm struggling to find 2 types of people, both in the sales department, right? So you can see this is one thing that Mike is struggling with, right? If we go down here, if you're struggling with inconsistent revenue, okay, so maybe consistency might be an issue that people would be struggling with, right? I'm struggling with this first funnel. Okay, this person's struggling to build their first funnel, right? Still struggling to launch a first funnel. Okay, so I see that 2 people here have talked about struggling to launch their first funnel. So I'm going to take note of that, right? We can find one more. I'm struggling with loading ClickFunnels 2.0 and I'm so close to giving up. So you can see what people in this niche are actually struggling with, right? And that's why I want to ask what they want and then sell them that, because if we try and create something and then sell them what we think they want, the likelihood of us getting it right is extremely low. So if you want to make your prospects give a fuck, you have to get a little bit of market message resonation. And that is the simplest and quickest way to do it. So I just showed you how to do it in Facebook groups, but if your niche isn't hanging on Facebook, you can try Reddit, you can try forums, you can try Discord communities, any group, any environment where your niche is hanging out and engaging with each other. Okay, so now that you've created your outreach script and whatnot, I need you to pass this outreach test that most of you guys are going to fail. So Kendrick, right? Even though Kendrick was able to follow this process and make his first $1,000, right? Using what we talked about in this video and using the scripts that he created and whatnot, he could have made so much more, okay? Because when he did join the First Client Challenge and when he did join the accelerator, we were able to look at his outreach script. We realized that he didn't pass this test I'm about to show you. And then when he did, he went from 1K a month to 3K a month in 2 weeks, okay? Ready for the test? Send the fucking script to yourself. Would you respond? Guarantee you most of the time the answer is no. Actually, imagine a random person hits you up on the street and sends you your exact script. Would you be interested? Would you respond? If the answer is yes, you pass the test and go start sending your outreach. If the answer is no, well then keep revising it until the answer is yes. Because if you wouldn't even respond, how could you expect a random prospect to respond? Okay, so your action step now is to create your outreach script. Abracadabra, just changed my shirt. Anyways, we've just chosen a wildly profitable niche and service. We've set up our outreach account. We've written some high converting outreach scripts, and now it's time to find the core souls that we're going to send our outreach scripts to. Okay, so finding our dream prospects, I'm going to walk you through 2 strategies to do this on Instagram, 1 strategy to do this on Facebook, and then I'm going to share with you a tip. I'm going to give you a workbook. I'm going to give you a sheet that is going to allow you to not lose your mind, and I promise you right now, this is the majority of the reason why people fail. People who struggle with outreach don't use the sheet that I'm going to give you here shortly, okay? So, finding your dream prospects. Let's get into Instagram first. I'm going to jump into my Instagram and walk you through the 2 strategies that you can use in order to find your dream prospects. Alrighty, so we're over here on Instagram. If you aren't already, be sure to follow your boy. I purposely have 69 posts because, well, you know why, and the more followers I have, the easier it is to pick up chicks at the bar. So anyways, moving over into how to find dream prospects, okay? So come over to your search, right? And then what you want to do is you want to search for hashtags that your target audience would be using, okay? Now, I say target audience, and I emphasize target audience for a reason, because if you're in the gym niche, your target audience isn't using hashtag gym. Everybody is using hashtag gym, right? So if I was in the gym niche, I hashtag CrossFit gym owner, okay? Now, there might only be 606 posts, but that's okay, because we're going to use these highly targeted, highly niche hashtags to find our ideal and find our dream prospects, okay? So then I would come over to here, and well, CrossFit Brigade looks like an excellent person that I could outreach to. That one's not. This one looks like a person that I could do outreach to, right? And you go through and you simply just add these accounts to your outreach list. Now, here's the second way to find your dream prospects, okay? So you come over to somebody who is your ideal prospect. You click on their profile, okay? Then you click this little button right here. If it's a little arrow on the mobile. And what you're going to see is a bunch of similar accounts. Now, every time you see an account that isn't in your target audience, you hit the X, okay? So then you can see here, 3 Notch Fitness, CrossFit Health, Trinity Strength. These people look like they're ideal in our ideal target market. This person does not. And what's going to happen is over time, Instagram is going to learn what accounts you're looking for, right? And so the reason why you don't just want to scroll through and only pick the ones that you are looking for and actually X out the ones that you're not is because that's going to tell Instagram what a type of account that you're looking for. And so Instagram is going to send you more accounts that are in your target audience. Okay. So those are the two simple ways to find your dream prospect on Instagram. Let's check out Facebook. So if we're heading on to Facebook, you're simply just going to want to come over to the Facebook page or Facebook search. You're going to want to type in your niche, right? Gym, med spa, whatever that is. Oh, here's an old ad from way back in the day. Wow, that's impressive. Anyways, then you're going to want to come over to pages. And right now you can see here is a bunch of potential clients. Now, what you're going to see here as well, this is all over the place. You know, some of these are meme pages. For this one's from Egypt. This one's from California, right? That's like the main Gold's Gym. So what are you going to do? You're going to add a filter, right? So here's a city near me. Okay. Now it's going to say all the gyms that are in your local area, right? Now, maybe if gyms aren't getting the best results, you can type in fitness. Come over to pages, location, same city, right? Now, here are a bunch of fitness centers or businesses with the name fitness in their profile or in their name near this city. And then so what I would do is I would go through all these, right? Add these to our list and then go to another city, exit this one out, try this city, right? And you can see a whole list, right? And then you can pair this with going on to Google Maps and make sure that you go city by city by city by city by city to make sure that you get every possible lead, right? Because I promise you want to get every possible lead from each individual city, because if you only kind of brush the surface, well, it's going to be a nightmare when you have already outreached to everybody in the country and you have to go back, right? That is why you're better off squeezing every juice out of each individual city, making sure you get every lead. And that's why I recommend that you guys search city by city. Okay, so before I give you guys an automated template sheet so you can manage and outreach with and follow up with all your leads automatically, I want to share a quick little story. So Christian Rodriguez, who was originally in your shoes, I met him before he had any clients or anything like that. He joined one of the OG versions of RSC, so First Fight Challenge, Accelerator, RSC Inner Circle didn't really exist. It was kind of like a prototype version of RSC. We took him under his wing, and in 3 months, he went from broke as a joke, just dropping out of school, you know, really trying to make a name for himself and prove everybody wrong that told him that he should have stayed in school, to making over $10,000 a month with his real estate marketing agency, right? And he acquired 100% of his clients through Instagram outreach, okay? And what we did is we set him up, you know, we cracked the code on his first outreach, and then we hooked him up with a VA, right? And the VA, by leveraging this sheet, right, he was able to get this amount of leads. Now, this is over like a 10-day time period, and then we moved it over to a Slack, which was a little bit more professional for his agency, right? But the reason why most people never get to this point is because they don't do their follow-ups, right? Follow-ups are one of the most important part of your outreach process, right? And the reason why they don't do their follow-ups is because it's insanely messy to do follow-ups. It is insanely messy to try and track follow-ups, which is why I've created this sheet for you. So how you want to be doing this is you want to come over to your Instagram, and then when you get a lead, you want to come to here and you want to paste it in there, okay? Now, what I've set up for you is if you accidentally paste the same lead twice, or if you have a VA doing this, look what happens. Boom, it highlights red, so you know you can delete that lead because it's a duplicate, okay? Then what you do is after you've contacted the lead, you come here, put contacted, right? And today's date is August 29th. So let's say I contacted them on August 29th. It's going to tell me to automatically follow up with them on August 31st. And I can use these filters to sort, right? So I can come here in a day, right? Let's say I have 50 leads in here, you know, click this, sort them, and it's going to tell me all the leads that I need to follow up with today. And then once I follow up with CrossFit Brigade or Brigade or whatever that name's called, follow up number 1 as of, you know, August 31st, right? Now it's going to tell me to automatically follow up with them on September 2nd, okay? Now, I've done more, but wait, there's more. I'm going to copy this. Let's say you hit them up and they say they're engaged, they're interested. Well, then you're going to come over here, they're going to paste them in here. And you can easily train a VA to do this as well if you have a little bit of capital to invest into your agency, right? Then you can put them over as new lead, right? Or called, no answer, called, not interested, or appointment booked. Let's say new lead as of August 29th. Well, that's going to tell you to, you know, to do the next follow-up as of August 31st, right? Let's say you called, no answer, same thing, right? And with this sheet, it allows you to organize your leads so you can make sure that you actually run your entire sales process for every single lead. Because if you only scrape the surface on your leads that you're working with, if you only scrape the surface on your follow-up, like eventually you are going to run out of contacts, right? But that being said, you guys could easily get, like, my first agency was doing $25,000 a month, and I only worked with people that were within a 10-mile radius of me. You can build an entire agency working with one niche in a single city, but the reason why most people never do, and they have to go all over the place and contact hundreds of thousands of people, is because they don't go deep with their outreach. They simply send a couple half-assed outreach messages and then move on, right? And then they wonder why the leads don't get back to them. It's because you don't show attention to them, so they're not going to show attention to you, right? In order to properly be able to show attention to people at scale, you need to use a sheet like this, okay? So I'm linking this in the description of this video for you guys to access. I want you guys to start using this every single day so you guys can stay on top of your outreach and actually get the results that you are going through this course to get. Okay, moving on. The number one reason why most people never succeed. Okay, so most people will not take action on this video. I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step guide to literally guarantee that you will make an absurd amount of money with your SMMA. But most people will not take action on this. But the people that do will see probably at least 10x the results of the people that don't, on average, right? There might be some people that don't take action on this and still go on to see a bunch of success. But on average, the people that do what I'm about to share with you in this video and do take action on this and do follow the process here are going to see 10 times the output than the people who don't. Simply because they're going to be able to make decisions based on data, not on emotions, right? And 99% of the bad decisions that we make in our lives are based on emotions, not on logic, okay? So here's how to put your SMMA into a 100% logical situation so you can always make logical decisions, okay? So quick little exercise time for you. I want you to take out a calculator and I want you to input how many messages that you've sent. For example, 69,000, hundreds, my apologies. And then multiply this number by 0.003. In this case, I get 21, round up, okay? Now take the result that you just got, so I just got 21, and subtract how many clients that you have closed. Let's say I've closed 12, right? I get 8.7, round up to 9. This is the cost of you having a bad sales process. If you had a good sales process in this situation, you would have closed 21. But because you've only closed 12, the cost of you not having a dialed in sales process costed you 9 clients, okay? Now, the average person inside the first client challenge converts at 1% to 2%, okay? And you should be converting at least 0.3% on your own, okay? Now, inside the Relentless Success Club inner circle, we had an individual who had been with us since day one, hit $100,000 per month with his agency. And he did an entire masterclass. Now, I don't even know why, but he was all adamant about not telling anybody who he actually was. Okay, he didn't want people to know. He didn't want it to be on YouTube that he was achieving those kind of numbers. I don't know if it was some personal reasons or whatever. That being said, I can't tell you who it is, but that being said, I can tell you the exact predictable revenue system that he used in order to accomplish that. The same predictable revenue system that I've used for every single agency I've been a part of. And when I was hanging out with 7-figure agency owners, they all had this system absolutely dialed, okay? Okay, so creating predictable revenue. So your goal should not be to close more clients. Your goal should be to hire more people to execute on your predictable revenue system. I'm going to say that one more time. Your goal should not be to close more clients. Your goal should be to have such a dialed in sales process that you know for every X amount of outreach messages that you send, you close Y amount of clients. And so therefore your only goal is to hire more people to send more outreach messages, because the more that you send, the more that you close. So what is predictable revenue? Predictable revenue is when you have a dialed in data and logically backed sales funnel where X input equals Y output. So an example is, as I was just saying, $3,500 you spend on ads, which is your input, you close one deal, which is your output. For every 100 outreach messages you send, input, you close one deal. That is your output. Okay, and then once your agency reaches a point of predictable revenue, you can hire at scale. You can hire a shit ton of people. And your main focus is to hire and train more people to run this system. Okay, so how do we attain this predictable revenue? Well, the only way to attain predictable revenue is through data. Without data to back up your theories, they are simply guesses, and you are at extreme risk of a system breakdown. You're at extreme risk of wasting your time. You're at extreme risk of wasting your money. You're at extreme risk of bringing on more people, more VAs, more sales guys, only to have them fail, which is going to cost you money and the time that you spent onboarding them and training them. Okay, so here are your outreach KPIs that people in the first client challenge are getting for you to reach predictable revenue. So number one is your response rate. Your response rate should be over 30%. If your response rate is below 30%, move on to the next KPI. You pass the test. But if it is not, if it is below 30%, we want to test the following in order. So first of all, leaving comments, right? Most of you guys don't even leave comments, right? So start leaving comments because that is the bare minimum. Now, if you are leaving comments, but you still have a low response rate, well, you're probably leaving low quality comments, right? Like if I go onto my Instagram here, when I go to a recent post, and I look at the 20 comments that I got, I have a question for you, bro. Collect DMs, I might have something for you. Check your messages. Yo, bro, appreciate it if you check my DM. Like, no, I don't give a fuck, right? Now, if they said, no way, Dylan, I actually, did something, similar to what you're doing in this photo last year, it really changed my life, had a follow-up question about this in your DMs. I would 100% check that DM and I would respond, right? Because they took a little bit of effort. They gave me a little bit of attention. And so in exchange, I'm going to give them a little bit of attention. Okay. So the next thing is if you are leaving comments and organic comments, test a new, better response provoking messages. So, hey, is this the best place for questions? Unfortunately, Tony Lee and I Tony Lee saturated that entire opener when he went onto Joel Kaplan's YouTube channel, chasing a little bit of clout, exposed the whole system. And then next thing you know, everybody and their mother was getting hit up with, hey, is this the best ways for questions? So, if you aren't getting good responses and you're being left on scene with your original response provoking message, try a new response provoking message that is a little more under the radar, right? And then the last thing is if you're leaving organic comments and you've tested a couple different response provoking messages and you still aren't getting opens, right? Or you still aren't getting replies, try a new channel, right? So if you're on Facebook, switch to Instagram. If you're on Instagram, switch to Facebook, okay? So moving on. Contact to lead rate. If your contact to lead rate is over 5%, move on to the next KPI. So this means for every 100 cold messages that you send, you should get at least 5 leads. If you are not getting at least 5 leads, you want to try a new pitch, right? Increase the dream outcome of your pitch. Increase the perceived likelihood that your prospect is going to get their dream outcome in your pitch. Decrease the time delay that people are going to have to go through or wait to get their dream outcome in your pitch. Decrease the effort and sacrifice that is going to take your prospect by working with you in your pitch. That is just creating more value. That's Alex Hormozi's value equation to a T, right? We want to constantly be testing. We want to constantly be trying new pitches, new offers, new etc. with our outreach messages until we get a 5% contact to lead rate. And if the new pitches, if we're testing the new pitches, I say in order, but really this is kind of going at the same time, right? New positioning of our offer, new pitching, a new pitch, it's all kind of under the same umbrella. So if we have a 30% contact to lead rate and we're not getting at least 5 leads for every 100 cold messages, original messages that we send, we want to try a new outreach pitch, okay? Now, discovery call conversion rate. So if discovery call conversion rate is over 33%, congratulations, you passed the test. Move on to the next KPI. If discovery call conversion rate is below 33%, test/tweak the following. So this means out of the 5 leads that we get for every 100 messages we send, at least 33% of them should convert into a demo call, right? We should be able to get them converted into a demo call, right? Now, if we are not doing that, we want a faster lead to contact time, right? So the quicker that we contact the lead after they become a lead, the more likely they are going to be to book a demo call with us, right? So, if we're waiting an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, well, that's going to be part of the problem. But if we're able to call our leads within 5 minutes of them becoming a lead, right, that is the first thing that we want to test with our discovery call conversion rate. Now, if we are contacting them right away and we're still not converting them, right? We're still not converting them. Well, then we need a new discovery call framework, right? We need to tell better stories. We need to have a better opener. We need to have better tonality, right? Now, unfortunately, it's, as you can hopefully see, it's fucking impossible for me to know why your discovery call why you're not converting on your discovery calls unless I have the ability to speak to you. So if you're struggling with this issue and you actually want, actual help, you're going to have to join the First Client Challenge so we can actually speak to you and actually hear your discovery calls, because there's no video that I can provide that is going to diagnose your specific solution, right? But that being said, these are the things that you want to be tweaking if you are struggling with turning your 5 leads per day into demo calls, okay? Now, the next one is the demo call show rate. So if we're not having at least 75% of leads show up to our call, right, we want to try a new discovery call framework, right? That's the first thing, right? Most of the time, we might get the yes because people are just being nice to us on the discovery call, but they have no actual incentivization to show up. And also maybe how we're ending the calls, right? There's a couple different tweaks, such as, asking them, saying the prospect, awesome, man, I trust that you'll show up there. Saying those things, are just little tweaks that you can add at the end of your discovery call to increase the likelihood of them showing up. But again, we would have to diagnose your specific discovery call if we were going to be able to prescribe your specific solution to this. I'm just showing you what needs to happen in order for you to increase your demo call show up rate. The second thing is more/better reminders, right? And the last thing is more/better indoctrination sequence, right? So we build these a lot where, after they book a call, we send them our story via email, we send them case studies via email. And if, you're struggling with the demo call show up rate, making sure that they're, getting 1 to 2 reminders, between the discovery call and the demo call. And then also making sure that they learn your story and seeing case studies, if you have them, between the discovery call and the demo call, right? And then the last thing is the demo call show rate. So if the demo call close rate is above 20% and all other KPIs are in check, congratulations, you have reached predictable revenue and your sole focus should be to go and hire more people. But if the demo call close rate is below 20%, meaning you don't close at least 1 out of every 5 calls that you hop on, first thing is to test is a new demo call framework, right? Now, I don't know what your current demo call framework is, but that being said, the problem is what you were saying on the call, right? It could be your tonality, it could be your body language, it could be your offer, it could be, the questions that you're asking, it could be how you start the call. Right? It could be how you're pitching, right? You may be confusing the prospect when you pitch. There's a million different reasons as to why you may not be converting at least 20% of the demo calls. And, unfortunately, again, it's absolutely fucking impossible for me to know why you aren't closing unless I actually got to listen and hear your calls, right? There's no video that I can provide to you guys that are going to be able to figure out what it is unless I actually get to listen to your calls. So if you are struggling with this, I hate to say it, but the only option that you really have if you want our help is to join the First Client Challenge. And then you're good to go, because then we'll be able to watch all your calls and see exactly what's going wrong and tell you exactly what to do in order to get to at least 20%. And if you've tried a bunch of demo calls and you've really mastered that and you still aren't closing, then you might need to try a new offer. Okay. So here the numbers don't lie. So let's say we send 1,000 outreach messages, right? If we get a 30% response rate, that equals 300 people reached, right? We have a 5% contact to lead rate. That's 50 leads. 33% discovery call conversion rate. That's 17 demo calls book. 75% show ups, that's 13 shows. 20% closing equals 3 closes, right? We send 2,000 messages, that's 6 closes. We send 10,000 contacts, that's 30 closes. Okay. So if you this is actually from the First Client Challenge and the Accelerator. So this doesn't really apply to you guys, but if your KPIs are off, right, you can come to, a call in the coaching calls in the free Discord or something like that. And you can say, hey, my KPI is below your benchmark, and therefore I have cause of problems. So here's my current process. How can I improve? That is how you would go to get help with this. Hey, my contact lead rate is below 5%. I have bad offer positioning. Here's my current pitch. How can I improve? So here's what I have done for you guys, right? Is I've created this predictable revenue tracking sheet that you guys can use. So you can simply put in your numbers every single day, and it's automatically going to calculate with the benchmarks that you want to be hitting above here too. So then you can see, if this is actually saying 2%, well, then you know that your contact to lead rate is the problem. And I also have the averages down here. So you can see the averages down here to make sure that everything is all in check. So take advantage of this, use this, because like I said earlier, the reason why most people don't succeed is because they don't track their numbers. And I actually had a friend of mine who makes multiple 7 figures per year say, running a business without tracking your numbers is like driving with your eyes closed. Okay, so that is the number one reason why most people never succeed. So now we're going to walk through how you guys can start booking appointments. So how to convince leads to book appointments. Well, I got bad news for you. If you're a little bitch, this ain't going to work out, because it's time to start dialing up the leads. So if you dread calling leads, I want you to pause this video right now. I want you to take out your phone like this. I want you to record yourself explaining why you are too scared to call up the leads. And I want you to post it into the RC Discord chat. Now, if you record the video, you looked at it and say, I don't want to post this because people are going to make fun of me. Well, they should probably just stop being a bitch, start calling up the leads. Onwards. Anyways, so Tony Lee, right? One of the secrets to his success was that every single time, he did generate a lead, he called them up. He didn't try and book the appointment through the DMs, right? It was the biggest separator from all the other agencies that were struggling to book appointments to us, where we were able to fill our calendar, or Tony, where he was able to fill our calendar every single day because he called the leads, right? When you call the leads, you show that you're a real human. You're not another bot, right? You're able to handle objections much quicker, and you're able to convey a lot more trust and respect as somebody who's calling the leads, as opposed to somebody who's hiding behind an Instagram outreach account. So here is the framework. So first of all, you not set appointments in the DMs as soon as you get a response, other than no, call your lead and book them in over the phone. Okay, so here's what your framework's gonna look like. Hey name, this is your name. We connected over Instagram in regards to what you do. Okay. Yeah. Does that ring a bell? Yeah, it does. Okay. Well, do you already have what you do in place? Or are you open to hearing ways to possibly generate result? Okay, so now I'm going to break this down for you a second. So hey, name, you say their name, but as a question, right? And they're gonna be like, yeah. Okay, and then you say, hey, name, this is your name. We connected over Instagram in regards to what you do. You're reminding them of what they do. Does that ring a bell, right? Now, if you were just speaking to this person like 5 minutes ago, so they're gonna say yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, do you already have what you do in place, right? So whatever you were talking about in the DMs, whatever you're pitching them in the DMs, you want to ask them, do you already have that in place? Or are you open to hearing ways to possibly generate result? Now, you might be wondering why you want to say this, because you're thinking, oh, well, we're giving them an out of the call. And that's exactly what we want to do, right? Because imagine you swipe with a hot chick on Tinder and you walk into her house, and the first thing is you step into the door and she runs behind you and slams the door shut and locks it and then stares at you. You'd be a little freaked out, right? And unless from what happened on that moment moving forward was insanely good, you probably wouldn't want to hang out with this person a whole lot, right? You'd probably think this person a little weird. Probably wouldn't trust this person a whole lot. Your trust would definitely drop with that fucking individual. I would have to say so. The same thing happens when you're on a sales call, right? When we force our prospects down a sales funnel, their sales guard goes up, their trust goes down, and the deal is as good as gone. But if we ask them, oh, do you already have this? That's like leaving the door open, right? So we detach ourselves from the sale. We show that we're attached from the sales. And guess what? They don't already have this because you were just talking to them 5 minutes ago. And guess what? They're going to say, oh, no, I'm still looking for this. Which, yes, they tell you, but more importantly, they tell themselves that. Okay? And so that is why you definitely want to start your discovery call frameworks with this exact line here. Okay? Then you want to say, okay, well, I can tell you a little bit about what I reached out to you for. Insert your backstory. Okay? So when I was coming into the SMMA guru scammer space, I joined a Discord, and there was like 30 people in this Discord on a call together, okay? And I jumped onto the call, and the fuckers were cold calling poor local businesses with the absolute worst cold calling script I've ever heard in my life. They were stumbling through the sentences, and they just sound like a bunch of morons, okay? And I hop on the call, and I'm like, hey, I don't think you guys should be cold calling. And what happened was all of these little kids, these little fuckers, they turned around and they absolutely revolted on me. Who do you think you are? You don't know nothing about me. I'm following Thomas Garnett's script. And I was like, fair enough. He got me, guys. Whatever. I figured that this wasn't a fight worth winning, so I left the Discord. Now, the next day, I posted a video about how I went from 0 to 206 clients with my first agency. Right, and the owner of this Discord really liked the video and shared it with everybody in the Discord. And I noticed that. And so after I saw that my video had been shared with everybody in the Discord, and they had heard my story, I hopped back into the group chat, or the voice chat, where there was another 20 or 30 people in there. And the second I hopped on, everybody stopped talking and said, no way, Dylan Wilson's here. And then all of a sudden, people were asking me questions left and center. How do I do this? How do I do this? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? I'm like, motherfucker, I was here 2 days ago and you guys were ripping me. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't know who you were. But what they're really saying is I didn't know your story. And that is why it is so important that you tell your story before you ever pitch somebody, right? Nobody is going to trust you. Nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to be interested in what you have to say until they know who you are. So that is why we first want to give them our backstory. And then as we're giving them the backstory at the end of it, we want to tie into our service delivery and how we can help them. Wrapping that up with does that sound like you can potentially help your business? Awesome. Let's schedule a Zoom call. Okay. So here is what the backstory looks like. This is the anatomy of a story that we want to be telling. So backstory, who you are, right? So, hey, my name is Dylan, and here's my situation that I'm in, and what are your goals? Because of this situation, this is the goal that I'm trying to achieve, right? That being said, these are the problems that I'm running into, and here's what I'm doing to achieve my desired result. And as I was doing this, this was the opportunity that I realized, and so I built this out, and then here's how, with this opportunity, I can help you in your business. That is exactly how you want to tell your backstory, and then also share what you do. Now, here's one very, very important thing. When you get into the nitty-gritty, right, you want to be sharing what you do in the simplest form as possible. There's a reason why there's people who build the cars and there's people who sell cars, and they're completely separate. Two different careers, right? One's an engineer, one's a salesman, right? Because if you put the engineer on the sales floor, he's going to start talking about the engine. He's going to start talking about the trim. He's going to start talking about a bunch of stuff that the customer does not care about, right? Because he knows everything. And this is one of the hardest things when we're starting our business, right? Because we know everything, right? We forget that the prospect doesn't have the same context on our business as we do. So we tell them the nitty-gritty details that just confuse the prospect, and the confused buyer will not buy it. Alternatively, if we come in there as a salesman and we talk about what's in it for the prospect's benefit, and we talk to the prospect, obviously not in a condescending way, but as if they're in kindergarten class, to make sure it's dead simple for them to understand what we do and how we can help them, well, the prospect is going to feel more confident because they understand what we are doing, and they're going to feel more confident in moving forward. Okay. So in rare circumstances, you'll have to book appointments without calling, right? And this usually happens when either, you cannot find their number anywhere, right? Or maybe you're in a country where you cannot actually call them, or you've tried calling them and they did not pick up the phone. Okay. So in that scenario, you want to use video messages. So Wyatt Roselli, he was actually the most successful person, or the fastest person, to go through the first client challenge. It took him 24 hours to get 3 clients. 24 hours. Now, that's Wyatt's story now, but it wasn't always like that. See, 6 months ago, Wyatt had tried to start an SMMA, and he picked a high ticket niche, the med spa niche, one that he thought he could make a lot of money in. And he beat his head against the wall for months and months and months, and he got absolutely no results. He went down the Iman Godzi rabbit hole. He watched all of Iman's videos. He got nothing out of it. He ended up quitting, and he ended up thinking that SMMA was a scam. And then he stumbled across actually my business partner, Alex Newman's videos, and he ended up joining the first client challenge. And then we realized, what he was doing was completely wrong. And so he started to send outreach. And then because he had MMA practice, he had to send video messages because he didn't have the ability to call up his clients. And through the video messages that he was sending, he closed 3 clients in his first 24 hours of starting an agency. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through the framework that Wyatt uses in order to do exactly that. Okay. So the high level framework is, hey name, share a damaging admission about yourself to build trust, share your backstory and your goal, and then make an offer. Now I've made a made up script of a random example so you guys can see what this looks like in person, right? So you take out your phone, you go on Instagram, and it would look something like this. Hey name, Dylan here. Now, I'm yet another one of those selfish online marketers you gym owners hate, but I have a little bit of a different reason for reaching out to you. Growing up, my dad was a successful entrepreneur, and I've always wanted to be like him. But he told me I had to finish school before I started my business, and so I did exactly that. But now, it's my time to shine. So I wanted to ask you if you'd be crazy enough to let me work for free with your team to take some of the marketing weight off your shoulders while bringing you more gym members. If so, I can tell you about the plan and idea my dad and I came up with for you. Let me know. And that is an example of what you want to be saying. So as I break this down, hey name, right? That's obviously the intro, right? Damaging admission. We say that to build trust and to break the ice. Then we share our backstory. Growing up, my dad was a successful entrepreneur, et cetera, et cetera. And then our goal, right? I wanted to be like him. That is the goal. It's an emotional goal that's going to relate more than if we say, oh, I want to make 10K a month so I can drive a BMW, right? And then we make our offer. So I wanted to ask if you'd be crazy enough to let me work with you for free. And there's your offer, right? Okay. So now we got to talk about how to stay motivated, because unfortunately with SMMA, there's more ups and downs than you're going to be getting in the bedroom after you're making 10K a month. It's going to be ups and downs from day one. Okay. So how do we stay motivated through the downs? So I'm going to share with you guys the tribal brain trick that, most of us inside of RC use to unlock infinite motivation. So Tony Lee had a revolving door of churn. He felt stuck within his agency. When I first met him, for every client that he signed, he lost a client. So we said, well, what if you 5x the input? What if you sent 5 times the amount of outreach messages? You'd probably get 5x the results. And he did exactly that, and he hit his first $5,000. Okay. But it is no secret that if you were to 5x the input, you'd get more output. But that's not easy to do, right? Because it's hard to stay motivated when you're, 5xing what you're currently doing. But imagine if you could pop a pill that motivated you to send 1,000 DMs a day. How fast would your company grow? Okay. Now, have you ever been on a run, right? If you have, it's going to hit close to home. And if you haven't, well, get your fucking lazy ass off the couch. Because anybody can go sit there and arm curl in the mirror while looking at themselves in the mirror. And guess what? When you're out there fucking running, there ain't no fucking mirrors. It's you against you. Running will teach you a lot. Anyways, when you ever run by yourself, maybe you put in 70% effort. Or you go for a run, you get your heart rate up, you're out there for 30 minutes, an hour, and then you come back home. But imagine if it was you against your best friend and you had to race each other for 5 kilometers and the winner got to sleep with the hottest chick that you boys know. You'd probably run a lot fucking faster than your jogs on your own. And that is the power of having people to compete against. Okay, so here's the framework to unlock infinite levels of motivation. The number one is to join a community like the one you're in and find your race partner. Number 2 is to bet on yourself and put money on this line in this kind of weird way. And I'll explain it to you in a minute here. And then the third thing is to eradicate any chance of failure through your outreach. Okay. So as you can see here, this is Tammy. He was absolutely motivated, quote unquote, like a rocket, just because he was able to see other people winning every single day, right? If you put a fat motherfucker in a room, in a house with a bunch of top tier athletes, that fat motherfucker is going to get in shape just because of the people that he's hanging out with, right? So you need to find these communities. You need to take initiative, right? Stop making excuses. Oh, everybody's lazy. Everybody wants it. No, I'm not fucking lazy. You got to just got to stop being lazy and find the people that also don't want to be lazy and hang out with them. Saying everybody's lazy, nobody gets it, is a lazy fucking cop-out thing to do, okay? So take action, find communities that are of people that are just like you, and it'll motivate you a shit ton, okay? Here's 2 people inside the first client challenge. These guys used to send 20 DMs per day, right? All of a sudden, he sees everybody else sending 100 plus DMs today. Prince bumps it up, says, decided to go for 70 because why not? Which is already like 3x the input, right? Until Alexander bets him that he can't go for 100, bro. And of course, Prince proved Alexander wrong, right? So that is the power of when you're in communities of people that are, competitively supporting you to win, okay? So here's the second one, is to put money on the line. So funny story about myself. Part of the reason why I'm at my standing desk isn't because I'm that cool, but it's because I've struggled with rounded shoulders for my entire life. Growing up, I was of the opinion that the stronger I got, the better I'd be at sports. Didn't care about mobility, didn't care about anything. So every single day I went to the gym and loaded up as much possible weight onto the bar, which completely fucked me up. In addition to that, the sport I played was hockey. It's a terrible sport for posture. In addition, just now spending 12 plus hours at a desk every single day trying to help you fuckers get your first client, okay? That led to terrible rounded shoulders. And with that, I knew I had to make a change. Tried several times to make a change to my rounded shoulders, but every single time I got bored because it's not fun doing fucking this. I want to go for a run. I want to put up numbers on the bench press, right? I want to deadlift. I want to do the fun shit in the gym, right? So I kept getting bored. So then I went to my friend who's a personal trainer and they said, hey, here's $500. $500, give me a 30-day workout program. Every single day when I finish your workouts, I'm going to send you a text. If I miss any single day, you keep the $500. If not, you give it back to me, okay? 1 month later, my problem was solved, right? And my posture has been completely changed ever since. That is the power of putting a bet on yourself, placing a bet on yourself. Because I was like, every single time I was like, oh, I don't really want to do the workout. I was like, well, if I don't do the workout, I lose $500. Like, that motivated my ass to fucking get in the gym and do the boring workout. Okay. So I like to force success by creating an I can't lose situation and put money where my mouth is. Okay. And the third thing is to eradicate any chance of failure through outreach, right? We want to leverage this infinite motivation to make it impossible to fail.
Before I joined RSC, I had no clue how to make any fucking money. And then I seen everybody, people just like me, making money by just putting in work. So I decided I'm going to put my head down and work, and boom, just collected that 2.2K straight payment today.
Here's some other people. Brian, the people at RSC are very helpful. The energy is very conductive in learning and more importantly, taking action, right? You'll get an accountability, like all this kind of stuff. The community feels like a family, right? When you put yourself in these environments, it actually becomes impossible to fail. Okay. How to sell to your first client. So how to sell your first free trial client. Now, Charlie was one of the first person to join the first client challenge, right? That being said, a little bit like me, a little bit of arrogance to him, a little bit of thinking that I'm better than everybody else, which serves you sometimes, doesn't serve you other times. That belief caused Charlie to go 0 for 12 on his first 12 sales calls with SMMA, right? He was on the verge of quitting because he had to start going back to school. And he didn't really want to, miss out on his opportunities at school, pursue this failing SMMA that I still hadn't made $1 with. Right. And at that point, I had the opportunity to speak with Charlie and see his sales call. And when I saw his sales call, I realized that he was not doing anything that we talked about. Right. And so then we slapped him silly. We showed him what to do. We walked him through the same process that I'm going to walk you through right now. And the next thing I knew, the kid was at $3K a month. Somebody who was on the verge of quitting their agency turned into a $3K a month agency just by, following the sales process I'm going to share with you. Okay. So created another Notion doc to go through this. I'll see you guys in there. All right. So selling our first client. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to break the ice and build some rapport. So we want to jump on this call, introduce ourselves with some formalities, Want to break the ice, ideally, a couple different ways to break the ice is an irregular response to how's it going. So normally, how's it going? Good. How are you? Good. Boring. Everybody's heard that before. How's it going? I'm just being bored. Shoulder shrug, right? A little bit of a different way to break the ice. You want these people thinking, oh, this time it's going to be different. When I go to the club and I see a bunch of cougars, they come up to me and be like, yeah, this time it's going to be different. That's what you want the prospects to be thinking too. After you've kind of broken the ice a little bit, ask them a question, a very light question, such as how long have you been in business for? And how did you get started? Showing genuine interest in who they are as a person. People love to talk about themselves. Just listen to me. And then after we get some very basic high-level info, we don't want to interrogate them because they are the authority in this situation, right? When we're coming onto this call with case studies and they came to us, then we are the authority. But right now we're coming to them to get our first ever client. So how can we expect to be the authority in this situation? We cannot, right? So after we get basic infos, we want to sell ourselves. We have no logical reason to give them that our service and our company is going to get them where they want to be. But we do have the ability to sell them on ourselves, sell them on our story, sell them on who we are as a human being. Because if somebody came to you and said, oh, I have this new system, what would you ask? Well, who has it worked for before? And if you can't answer that question, you're not going to close them. But if you fuck the system, if you say, hey, listen, I want to come and I want to work with you every single fucking day to make sure that we fill up your gym, because selfishly, I am going to take what we do with you and I'm going to start my company off of that. That is a lot more of a believable statement, especially when you talk about section 1, which is when you go into your backstory first, right? So what is your backstory that gives prospects a vested interest in your journey? An example is like, why do you want to become an entrepreneur? What motivates you? What are your business goals? And we talked about this in the discovery call. One of the common questions that I get asked is, hey, if I told them my story in the discovery call, do I need to tell them it again in the sales call? The answer is yes, because if they hear the same story twice, it becomes a lot more believable. And also, they probably don't remember your story the first time. To think that you are their biggest priority in their day is absolutely absurd. They probably forgot your story 10 minutes after the call. So yes, we need to retell their story. Then we got to talk about the journey. So it's like, why did we want to start this? And say like, what was the moment that you realized that you wanted to start this? So an example might be, I met a group of 50 like-minded entrepreneurs that were further ahead than me and they inspired me. And then they found that, people in this industry were struggling with X. So I've been working with these guys to create a solution. And then you can share like, what happens if you don't succeed, right? The reason that we care about stories, the reason that we watch movies, is the stakes. It's the suspense. It's the, oh shit, if this goes wrong, what happens? That's why we want to include that in our story. So an example of this is, and I made a deal with my parents. If I don't achieve X goal by X date, I'm going to have to go back to college. Fucking hate it. Section 3 is a new opportunity, right? So you want to talk about how did you discover this new opportunity? So then we were talking, we were on a group call with all these entrepreneurs and some of them are, making multiple 7 figures in the industry. And we realized that, XYZ was and we had this epiphany because this one person was in, he was talking to people in this niche and he was working with the people in this niche and he was like, damn, they're really struggling with this, right? So that's why we created the solution. So we offer, and then you can talk about what you do, right? So we offer your pest control services to interested buyers, qualify them using AI, and then pass off the warmest ones to you. That's an example if you're in the pest control niche. Section number 4 is the frameworks. Okay, so now is when we want to talk about selling them the vacation, not the plane ride. Now, people say that all the time. And I realize that a lot of people have heard that, but they don't really know what it means, right? And so what this means is to simplify your explanation so that a kindergartner could understand it and only talk about the results that you would get, not what you do, okay? You're not talking about what you do, talk about the results that you get. And then we close them and we qualify them, okay? So the simplest close that people in the First Client Challenge, etc. use is my group of guys only work with ad spends of $1,500 per month. And you price anchor with some of the mentors and some of the winners inside the First Client Challenge and RSC, but we can do a test run with $500 to double check that this works for your business. Right. So you say like, hey, this is a $1,500 thing, but we can do it for like $500 just to double check that like this works. Cool. Awesome. Then you schedule in the onboarding call and you want to create the calendar event and add them while they're on the call. Confirm they have received it and 100% will be there to get started. And congratulations. At this point, you will have just closed your first of many clients. Alrighty. So we have chosen a wildly profitable niche and service. We've set up our outreach accounts. We've written the high converting outreach scripts. We've found our dream prospects. We've talked about the number one reason why most people will never succeed and how to be the 1% that does. how to book appointments, how to stay motivated, how to sell the first client after you book these appointments. Now, I'm going to share with you guys what most success stories did to actually make sure that they get these fucking results. So I am no psychic, but you're probably struggling with your outreach getting left on red, the leads not answering the phone, prospects ghosting you, the let me think about it objection on your sales calls. You don't know how to tell your story, limiting beliefs, knowing what you should actually charge, or after your free trial client, what you should charge, and then how to actually service this new client that you've just sold. Okay. Now, unfortunately, it's actually impossible for me to make a video to prescribe your specific solution because everybody is different. I don't know why you are getting left on red. I don't know why your leads are not answering the phone. I don't know why your prospects are ghosting you because there could be a million reasons why. I don't know why they say, let me think about it to your offer because I haven't heard your sales call. I don't know how to tell your specific story because I don't know your story. I don't know how to break your specific limiting beliefs because I don't know what those limiting beliefs are and why they were formed in the first place. I don't know what you should charge after your free trial client because I don't know much about your service delivery. And I don't know how to service your specific client because I don't know what niche you're in and I don't know what your offer is. Okay. Now, these videos alone are kind of like using Google when you're sick, right? But instead, if you're actually sick and you actually want the solution and you actually want to go and get diagnosed to your specific solution and prescribed the perfect medicine to get to where you want to be as fast as possible, you need to go to a doctor where you get your problems diagnosed, you get the real custom solutions to get your first client in your case, okay? So I love my guys. Fucking love you guys and I hate pitching you. But if you've spent more than 13.84 days and haven't made $1 yet, you need help and that's okay. If you have sent more than 200 messages and haven't made $1 yet, you need help and that's okay. And if you have an ounce of commitments towards building a profitable online business, I have something for you. The SMMA First Client Challenge, where you can simply place a $100 deposit and get your first SMMA client. Back in the old days, we used to do this for free. Well, what happened was that we had hundreds of people come in who were uncommitted and weren't actually legit. So then we put up this little litmus test of making people put in $100 to show that they're actually committed because those are the people that we are actually able to deliver results for. So inside the First Client Challenge, you get a personal 6-figure SMMA owner to walk you through every step of the way. And almost it's kind of like being able to partner with them as you launch your agency to get your first client in, on average, 13.84 days. I'm not saying that you will get your first client in 13.84 days, right? These are past results. It's not an indication of future results. I'm just saying that the average person has been doing it since joining the First Client Challenge, okay? After you get your first paying client, you get your money back too, okay? So it is 100% free, right? Now you can see that people kind of like it, except for this guy. This individual was mad because the coach wouldn't level him up because he didn't have any Instagram posts, right? But if you don't have any Instagram posts, your prospects aren't going to look at you like you're legit. Prospects are going to look at you like a scam. You're not going to be able to build trust. You're not going to be able to get results, okay? But here's what other people had to say. Honestly, thought I didn't really have what it takes to start an agency. Took advantage of this and it literally flipped a switch in his life, right? It's extremely member focused and the amount of value provided surpasses any of these overpriced $997 courses out there, right? Or he'd been 3 months since he started this and he's incredibly satisfied with the progress. You can read all the ego boosting shit that he said for me here. Or Chase, who's actually in Agency Lab as well. And with that, killer investment into Agency Lab, saw tremendous value out of this free program. Okay. So if you want to do that, if you're actually serious, if you actually want to change your life, if you actually want to get this going, stop being a fucking bitch, click below to get started. Okay. So I absolutely fucking hate doing this, but I shared the free course with a millionaire friend of mine and he told me that this had to be done. Now, I hate flexing on people. I'm very low key. This is a $7 t-shirt. And there's people in my close family that don't even know I run a business, okay? That being said, I understand in the online world, I have to show proof that I know what I'm talking about and show proof as to where this information that I'm about to give you over the next hour or so actually came from. So 5 years ago, I started my first agency. It was called Wilson Media. I started it shortly after dropping out of school because I absolutely hated school. And within 2 years of that agency, I was the top young entrepreneur of the year in my city. And well, I'd served over 200 clients. And from there, I moved on to serving clients in the gym niche. I did Facebook ads to go high level. And in the first 4 weeks, we scaled that agency from 0 to 25K, just under 25K. And here were some of the results that we got for people in that niche. And then at that point, I was like, oh, I have a little bit of a knack for this. So that is when I went to start RSC, which is where I get to partner with successful SMMA owners and scale them up to $20,000 to $50,000 a month. and give everybody else, the stuff that they need for free in order to become established, right? That is my selfish intention out of making this free course for you. And so you can see, here's one Stripe account that we have going right now for the last month. Here's another Stripe account that we have going right now. We also take payments through Wire. We also take payments through PayPal. We also take payments through ClickFunnels, this weird ClickFunnel funnel that we have set up with one agency. So we do a lot more than what you can see here on the screen, but I don't like sharing numbers. I don't believe I think that's a way to make yourself vulnerable. So I'm not going to do that. You just kind of get a gist of what I'm doing. So it had to be done. I hate doing it, but let's get back from the course now.